Hi, my name is Al. Welcome to the Chiefs restaurant. How can I serve you tonight?
To start, can I just get the brown rice?
We actually don't have that for the rest of the year.
No! Ooh, all right, welcome back to the First and Gold podcast. I just got done mourning the loss of our offense. But week 4 is over. It was fun. It was actually fun. Let me be real here. Other than some injuries, it's funny because we're 4-0, and I'll get to the Chiefs in a second, so I really shouldn't be angry at all. And I'm not, but it is still sad to see him go. Okay, anyways. Welcome back. It was a fun week. Finally, I've been talking about the last couple of weeks, how things have been not great for the offensive side of the ball, pretty much around the league. Quarterback play has been off. Some games, there's been a lot of blowouts, maybe some boring moments, even on red zone. But this week was finally, very chaotic, very close. A lot of great games towards the end. A lot of fun moments, almost comebacks. So a lot to talk about here. Except for these 6 games. I'm just going to get these out of the way. Actually, 5 games. Just right off the bat, I'm just going to tell you, we're not talking about these games today because there's a lot more else to talk about. So, no Bears, Rams, Giants, Cowboys, even Bills, Ravens, 49ers, Patriots, and Eagles, Bucks. I'm not doing it this week. We're going to be talking about all these teams plenty this season, but we got other stuff to get to. So, sorry, fans of those teams, you're not going to hear about your team this week. Anyways, I'm an insufferable Chiefs fan. We all know this from the many clips I post, representing pretty much one of our only reliable pieces left, even though he's not been great this season. He finally had a good game against the Chargers, because he always does well against the Chargers. But let's talk about it. I'm actually not going to talk about the game that much, because it was pretty, whatever. It was 17-10. Chiefs are 4-0. Let's go. But the main storyline is Patrick Mahomes, funny enough, ironically enough, or unironically, probably the worst play of his entire career was yesterday, and he threw an interception. It was another terrible pick. He's had at least one of them in every game so far this year. He's got 5 on the season. Number 2 in interceptions for quarterbacks. So he threw a pick on the play, and then I forget who on the Chiefs punched the ball out, if whoever intercepted it. He punched the ball out. People were running for the fumble, and Mahomes kind of ducks down, and he takes out the knees of Rashee Rice, and it's not confirmed. As of right now, we're taping the next day on Monday, but Rashee Rice is definitely, I'm going to confirm it. It has to be an ACL tear. I mean, the guy could barely walk getting off the field. Just, some people are like, oh, it's karma for the thing. I mean, regardless of what you think, I mean, it's a horrible injury. And, that's a big blow for the Chiefs. I've been quietly behind the scenes, been saying to a lot of my friends, people I've discussed with the Chiefs, I'm like, of course, I'm extremely lucky. And a part of that is because the Chiefs have not really suffered any major injuries in the Mahomes era that I can think about that really, took a hit to their team. And every time I say it, I knock on wood. I'm like, for some reason, I feel like it's got to happen. It has to happen at some point. I mean, Brady was out for the whole year. I'm just glad it's not Mahomes yet. Another knock on wood moment. Hopefully, that's not wood. That's my gaming chair over here. But hopefully it's not going to happen. Our offensive pieces are dropping like flies right now. So I don't know what's going to happen with the Chiefs. We got to lose 5 in a row to have a losing record. So there's the positive. But it's just funny, I am extremely spoiled. At 23 years old, I've watched my team do what most people can never say their team will do. But the Chiefs somehow keep convincing me every regular season that they're not going to go to the Super Bowl. Although they probably will. Mahomes will find a way. I haven't lost confidence, but for some reason, there's always something that makes me feel like, okay, this has to be the year we're not going to do anything this year, right? Last year, it's just because our offense were having major issues just in general with the drops. Mahomes looking out of it. I mean, Mahomes looks out of it this season. He doesn't even look like a top 15 quarterback so far. I talked about it last week. I kind of clickbaited a little bit with the clips. I said, was Mahomes washed? Obviously, I don't think he's washed. But it just looks like, once again, actually, it's funny. I mentioned his arm strength last week. It feels like it's shot a little bit. Completely disproved that yesterday with that throw to Xavier Worthy. 62 air yards, which is the farthest throw of Mahomes' career. So, okay, that can go out the window now. But you got to admit, maybe it's the play calling with Matt Nagy. We're way too conservative sometimes. Maybe because of the injuries, Mahomes is losing trust, or not losing trust, but he hasn't earned the trust of a lot of these receivers yet. Now that Kelsey's being double teamed a lot, so he's just hesitating on a lot of these throws. He doesn't look confident. He's making bad decisions. Our offensive line, our interior offensive line is great. Kareem Hunt, by the way, welcome back. What a game. He averaged, over 5 yards a carry. That was so much fun to watch Kareem Hunt back. But yeah, I mean, if Mahomes can just clean up some stuff, I'm not, pressing major, a bunch of panic alarms here, but it sucks. It sucks. I mean, it also set in that we're probably not going to watch Rashee Rice play football until Thanksgiving of next year, because not only is he going to be out the rest of the season, but then he's going to be suspended next year. So that was the last time I watched Rashee Rice play football for a very long time. Kind of depressing. I mean, it's half his fault, obviously, for the suspension part. But yeah, that's the reality. Never got to see Hollywood Brown play this year. Pacheco's still out for at least another, 6 to 8 weeks. I'm going to Chiefs-Panthers in late November. I'm hoping I could at least maybe see Pacheco play. I don't know. I mean, at this point, I'm just hoping Mahomes stays healthy. So yeah, it's just one of those years. Look, I got to be honest. I've been very spoiled, not only with the winning, of course, but the fact that the Chiefs have not been riddled with the injury bug too often in the Mahomes era. It just happens to be one of those years. It kind of feels like the football gods have to make sure that if a team is on a quest for a three-peat, they're going to make it as tough as possible, which fine. Hey, the universe has to even everything out. It's completely fine. I understand it. But I guess this will make for the most interesting Chiefs season of all time, at least with Mahomes. Not of all time, but with Mahomes for sure. Just to see how the hell he's going to get it done. I mean, now Xavier Worthy is needed. He's no longer a complimentary rookie. He is needed in this offense. Kareem Hunt is needed in this offense. Travis Kelce, who had a good game yesterday, he was a little force-fed, but he still played well. He is needed once again. So at this point, thank God our defense still looks pretty good this year. They looked awesome yesterday. I mean, after that first quarter, they literally shut the Chargers out. And Chris Jones, right now, once again, top 3 in the conversation for defensive player of the year. At least I think. I think it's him. I think you can make an argument for TJ Watt. And I would even put Pat Surtain in there. I mean, he's been a lockdown corner this entire season. He's been phenomenal. Best corner in the NFL. So, with that being said, I don't have too much to say about the game, just the injuries, and we'll see what keeps happening. I don't want to feel this, mellow about the Chiefs, but look, we still won. A win's a win. Never going to apologize for a win. We're 4-0. That's the positive side. So, it's going to be intriguing. We'll see what happens with the Chiefs the rest of the season and how we work that on offense. Maybe we go trade for somebody. We'll see. Let's talk about my 2 biggest shocks of the season that are just still coming into fruition. Now that 4 games are over, we're a quarter way into the year, it feels like teams are finally making their statement on who they're going to be this season. People are, or not people, but teams are really making their way in the standings. Al, I'm sure you're excited about this. Shout out to my brother Max as well. The Vikings are 4-0. If the Seahawks lose tonight, the only undefeated team somehow. Al, our first full season doing the podcast together. Obviously, we did most of it last year, but not the full season. But our first full season together, our favorite teams are most likely going to be the last undefeated teams left. I mean, just mind-boggling. Exactly. I mean, yeah, you're wearing purple today. You're representing it. Yeah, you could do your skull chants. Go ahead. That would be great. Look, if it was a Vikings-Chiefs Super Bowl, I'm all here for it. I mean, I said this last week. The crazy part, every time the Vikings have been good in my lifetime, I don't buy it. I know what's going to happen at the end of the year. They're just going to blow it in the playoffs. But maybe I'm falling for it again. Maybe we're all falling for it. Maybe next week Sam Darnold goes out there and throws 4 interceptions. I don't know. But this felt like the game they were going to blow, and they actually almost blew it. I mean, they were up 28-0, and they only won it 31-29 against the Packers. But their defense is so good. Sam Darnold had 3 touchdowns, which one of the best passes of the entire season thus far to Justin Jefferson. Like, when you watch it, it was kind of just like, okay, it was like a 10-yard pass to the sideline, but when you watch the replay, I don't know how he fit the ball in there. That was crazy. Sam Darnold easily the MVP candidate right now. I can't believe this is why football is so great and unpredictable. Although the same team, kind of ends up winning it every year. Sorry, guys. But anyways, I mean, the fact that Sam Darnold is still leading the MVP conversation, and it looks like the Vikings aren't going anywhere. They just got Jordan Addison back healthy. He had, I forgot his exact stats in real life. I know he had 2 touchdowns, but I played against him in fantasy. He had 22 fantasy points already. And their defense isn't going anywhere. They had 3-4 turnovers yesterday. Their pass rush is phenomenal. Their coaching, finally, it feels stable this year for the Vikings. It doesn't feel like a fluke. They actually look motivated, stable, confident. They're making smart decisions. Sam Darnold looks comfortable for the first time in his entire career. Justin Jefferson's healthy this year. So, I mean, barring no injuries, hopefully, of course. I can't believe I'm saying this. I really thought this was going to be the game where, Sam Darnold starts off great and then kind of just plummets a little bit. Maybe he will. We'll see. But yeah, right now, if I had to, I'm gonna stick with my Packers Super Bowl prediction just because I can't just go away from it in week 4. But if someone said gun to your head, if you had to change it right now, the Vikings might be it, which makes no sense in my head. It makes no sense, but we're at that point of the season. Every season is different, guys. Just remember, whatever happened last year isn't going to happen the next year. So this is why we love the NFL, and it's only week 4. We have all this football ahead of us. So that's a storyline to look out for. They definitely feel like the Texans of this year, maybe even better, maybe more like the Lions. Okay, let's talk about another shock I have here. A guy who I liked coming out of the draft, of course, but, his size was an issue. Just the team he was on in general was an issue. You didn't know how quickly he was going to get started. But sometimes when you have the it factor, it doesn't matter. And we're talking about Jayden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. I can't believe most of this podcast has been talking about the first 2 weeks was the Saints. And now we're talking about Sam Darnold and the Vikings and Jayden Daniels and the Commanders. I don't know what's going on. First off, 82.1% completion percentage within his first 4 starts. That's the highest of any quarterback in NFL history. He looks extremely comfortable playing right off the bat. He uses his legs, which is almost... He's like one step below Lamar Jackson, but he's right there. He's dangerous on the ground. But he doesn't, he's great in the pocket too. He'll throw it. He'll make any throw. And then he has this other weapon, his legs, and he uses it whenever he needs to. And their offense is unstoppable. They put up, 42 points? 38. And then, they only put up 21 in week 2, but it was 7 straight drives, no punts that game, all field goals. I don't understand. I don't understand how these teams are so good. The Commanders' defense looked good. Their defensive line looked good. Now, that's a little bit more with the Cardinals' offensive line, which also sucks. But Jayden Daniels, the last 2 weeks, has played against 2 of the worst 5 defenses in the NFL, if we're going to be honest. But, I mean, the guy is the it factor. That's it. I mean, I like him as a person. I like him as a leader. Every throw he makes looks so professional, like he's already years into his career and his prime. He's just so much fun to watch. Commanders fans have been saying now that this is the most joy, especially older Commanders fans are saying, this is the most joy I've ever felt watching my team in over 20 years. I mean, how many other exciting Commanders seasons have there been in my lifetime? I don't know, 2? RG3's rookie year? And then, I mean, even the year they made the playoffs during COVID, it's just all right, they were 7-9, and they just slipped in because their division sucks. So, I mean, Kirk Cousins, 2015... Maybe that's if that's their happiness, they're in for a boatload more with Jayden Daniels in his career. I mean, I can't wait to see him. I hope he stays healthy. Whoa. I mean, if we get a Vikings Commanders NFC Championship game, then this season has shifted a lot in terms of the NFL universe. I don't know what's going on, but yeah. I mean, I talked about a guy in Sam Darnold who's definitely leading in the MVP votes. And Jayden Daniels is definitely leading an offensive rookie of the year. So we'll see what keeps happening. But, man, I just love when fun news stories emerge around the NFL because it just gets you talking. This is why we have the podcast. There's just so much to talk about. We'll move on. I want to talk about a couple of player units in the NFL that I've been eyeing the last few weeks that have now really substantially made their mark in the NFL as rather really good or really bad that I think people need to look out for. And these units are going to be the reason that determines whether their season goes well for the rest of the year or bad. I have 3 written down. Let's start with the Broncos, a team I haven't really talked about much this season because, honestly, as a Chiefs fan, I hate them, and I also just sick of talking about them. But I got to give them props right now. Somehow they're 2-2. I don't know if they're technically ahead of the Chargers right now in their division, but they're up there. And their defense, this is what I want to talk about, is their defense. First week, give them a break. It was their first game. They played in Seattle. They gave up 25 points. But then 13, 9 against the Jets. And then last week, why is it escaping me who the Broncos played last week? Oh, the Bucks. They gave up less than 10 points against the Bucks in Tampa. So it's no joke. It's no joke at all. Like when the Chiefs face off with the Broncos, especially with all the injuries that just happened, that game could end like 14-10. You know what I mean? So that is something that Sean Payton is definitely trying to take advantage of. Vance Joseph, awesome defensive coordinator. He was never good as a head coach, but he's definitely a solid defensive coordinator. It's crazy. I mean, let's just talk about the Jets as well. I have Jets coaching as my second unit that I wrote down. I mean, they played each other, Jets Broncos. Bo Nix had -7 yards passing at halftime, and the Jets lost. So just when I thought the Jets were actually turning a new leaf, and I gave them all their credit last week, and I was like, shit, they're going to be 3-1 going into the London game. They got the Broncos this week. All right, whatever. No, of course. And there's the picture of Aaron Rodgers with a towel over his head on the sideline this past weekend. Everybody's saying, welcome to the Jets. You're finally a Jet. You're having your Jet moment. But I don't even want him to have his Jet moment. I'm sick of this shit. Can you guys just consistently be good? And I know it's not Rodgers' fault. I know their offensive line is Breece Hall needs to step it up, though. He is. I'll give the Broncos defense props. I just did, but especially Pat Surtain. I just mentioned him for Defensive Player of the Year. He's phenomenal. I mean, he locks down anybody he guards. He's the best corner in the NFL, best corner we've seen in a long time. But it feels like Rodgers doesn't have chemistry with Garrett Wilson, and I don't think that's their problem. It has to go down with the coaching. I don't know why they thought Nathaniel Hackett was a good idea to be an offensive coordinator. But Robert Saleh, there's just excuse after excuse to cover up for him. I know Jets fans, though, are agreeing with me. He needs to go. We've given him 1,000 chances. Just everybody has. And like, it's just, I don't get it. I don't get it with the Jets. I know it's my podcast, but I'm genuinely at a loss for words for how bad they played yesterday. They didn't even look motivated at all. They couldn't get anything done on offense. I know the weather sucked, but that's no excuse. I mean, Rodgers has played in Green Bay his entire career, you know? It's the NFL. There's no excuse. If you're going to suffer these types of losses, this is why I projected the Jets to go 9-8 this season and just miss the playoffs. Because it feels like if they keep this coaching staff around, they're just going to have losses like this that make you shake your head. They're going to be very inconsistent. And it feels like there's a lot wrong with this team mentally and emotionally in the fact that I don't trust them to come off of a big win and then keep that momentum. I feel like they're going to get complacent. They're going to get in their heads. And then they're just not going to perform in what was a trap game, essentially, against the Broncos. And now I feel like, the second they have one of those bad trap game losses, they might go into a funk. Like, I just don't trust the Jets right now. I know Rodgers is capable of pulling it together and making these throws like he did the last 2 weeks and playing well, and their defense is still solid, but I feel like I'm going to be right at the end of the year with my prediction. Like, it does feel like as long as they keep it up with the coaching and everything else, they're going to end up a 500 team that probably just misses the playoffs. So I'm sorry, Jets fans. I hope I'm wrong. You have a really tough game against the Vikings next week in London. But that was a bad one. You're going to look back, and if you're, a game away from the playoffs, you're going to want that one back. But props to the Broncos. You guys are 2-2. And then my final unit, I just mentioned the Bengals defense. We didn't get to talk about, that's why I also wanted to talk about Jaden Daniels for a few minutes there. We didn't get to talk about the Monday night games from last week, specifically Bengals Commanders. And man, I mean, of course, the Bengals needed a win here. They finally beat somebody. They beat the Panthers only by 10 points. It was pretty close the whole way. And I'm not worried about their offense. Their offense is good when healthy, of course. Joe Burrow looks fine. But I don't get it. My dad and I were talking about this the other day. The Bengals only lost, I want to say, 2 starters on defense last year, and it wasn't any of their their biggest pieces. I mean, they still have your Trey Hendricksons, your Sam Hubbards, what have you, but they're just so much significantly worse than last year. I don't understand, which just means the Patriots are even worse because they only scored 16 against the Bengals defense, and that's why the Chiefs are worse. I'm looking at the Commanders and the Panthers scoring 30 plus, and I'm like, how come the Chiefs couldn't do that? But that's a story for another day. I don't know what's going on. I think they're going to get their... We'll get to their predictions in a few minutes. I think they're going to get their ass kicked against the Ravens, and they're going to go to 1-4. Look, it's fine. They got their win. Jamar Chase looked good, whatever, but keep an eye out for the Bengals. I don't understand what it is. Just with the Jets, it has to be something with coaching at this point because they have talent on defense. They were pretty solid 2 years ago. They actually weren't that good last year, but I don't know. I mean, that's going to be the main reason why they don't make the playoffs is their defense. It's just nauseating to watch. They can't stop anybody, literally anybody. It's just wasting Joe Burrow's prime with you still have Higgins and Chase, and you're not getting anything done. So I'm worried about the Bengals. I picked them to win the Super Bowl. Once again, with like the Vikings thing, gun to my head. Honestly, I would pick like Vikings, Texans right now. I don't even know what I'd pick. Vikings, Ravens. Anyways, let's move on. I got a couple more things here. I just wrote down the NFC South race to the top is going to be so much fun. Now, I don't think the Panthers are going to make the playoffs, of course, but that Saints-Falcons game yesterday might be the game of the week. Shout out Younghoe Koo, North Jersey native. We shout him out all the time on the podcast. 58-yard game winner. Best kick of his career. And they needed that. I was watching that game, their defense kind of blowing it at the end, even though I like their defense. I was like, come on, just put together one more good, solid defensive drive. And you're ahead of the Saints in the standings. I'm looking at this game and I'm like, shit, like if they're 1-3, they might not be able to come back from that. And yes, it's such a Saints way to lose it. The fact that they got that DPI, which was a DPI. I don't feel like talking about the refs anymore. I'm so sick of it. But such a Saints way to lose the game. The Falcons definitely got lucky, even though it was the right call. But man, like that was a scary moment for the Falcons. That was a pivotal moment in their season, and Younghoe Koo just saved it. So, the Saints, they've come back down to earth. I wasn't buying it, really. Like, we just knew this was going to happen. This is going to be like how Ryan Fitzpatrick was the leading MVP candidate after 2 to 3 weeks for the Bucs in 2018. Like, we're just going to look back when the Saints end 8-9 this year and be like, remember the first 2 weeks when they scored 91 combined points? Yeah, me neither. I mean, obviously the Bucs destroyed the Eagles. I was a little bit worried about the Bucs coming into this week, but they showed that was just a bad week against the Broncos. They bounced back. They look great. Baker's awesome. Just keep an eye out for the NFC South division that not a lot of people care about, but I think is going to heat up to be one of the best races to the top by the end of the year. So there we go. Bench Deshaun Watson. I wrote that down. I already had a whole segment last week about how bad he is. I just want to reassure it that he was just completely awful yesterday. He actually made a couple nice plays, but towards the end there's nothing I hate more than when a close game ends with a quarterback not making a decision quick enough to throw it, at least like a Hail Mary, and then he just takes a sack and the game's over. I hate when that happens. Of course, Deshaun Watson did it. Now, obviously, the Browns' offensive line's not that good, but I'm just so sick of watching him on my TV screen. Get him away. Lose with Jameis Winston rather than lose with Deshaun Watson. It's so much more fun to watch Jameis Winston. Get him out of here. I'm so sick of it. I don't care how much money you paid him. Just put in Jameis. Enough. Speaking of a former Browns quarterback, Joe Flacco is back. He got a win against the undefeated Steelers. Just want to shout him out. I was watching Joe Flacco and I was like, are you sure he's never been on the Colts before? Like, he just looks like a Colts quarterback. Just a tall white guy that just doesn't move ever and is just super old and washed. But hey, Michael Pittman owners in fantasy, keep him around now because Joe Flacco is going to be airing that ball out. I do hope Anthony Richardson gets healthy though, because I hate to see him. I hate that they put him out there after he got hurt and immediately did a QB draw or whatever that was. It was such a stupid decision. But anyways, my last note before we get to our predictions, I got to talk about Jags Texans really quick. Another very close game, one of the best games of the week. The Jags are just depressing at this point. I also didn't get to talk about him last week. Trevor Lawrence is a bust. I don't care what anybody says. Maybe if you get rid of Doug Peterson, that'll help, but I don't care anymore. I'm sick of the Jaguars. I liked them 2 years ago. And, I also don't like them. This is a totally irrelevant reason, but I hate that they just go black and white with their uniforms every other week. Wear more teal and maybe you'll win. That's just a stupid reason, but Doug Peterson needs to be fired. I'm sick. He's like Dan Campbell, but worse. He's gotten so much praise from the Philly special at this point that was 7 years ago that he thinks he could just run a QB draw at Trevor Lawrence on the 5-yard line on 4th down when they could just take a field goal and be up 6 with, 10 minutes to go in the 4th? I don't know. He just makes these dumb decisions with the Jags, and I'm so sick of watching them. You know what? They deserve to be 0-4. I don't care anymore. Disgusting. Just a disgusting team to watch. And the Texans, look, this is going to piss some people off. I know I kind of just mentioned them as maybe my Super Bowl pick, but keep an eye on them. They're 3-1. Good for them. But all I have to say is they're not as good as you think. And I wouldn't be surprised if they lost in the wild card round. That's all I have to say. Don't hate me for it. It's just a gut feeling. The eye tests, they haven't looked as good as I thought they were going to look. So, CJ Stroud's fine. Everybody's fine. But let's just hold our horses on the Texans for a second. That's all I need to say. I just don't think they're as good as you think. That's kind of your quick recap of week 4. Probably not quick for Al to edit. I'm so sorry. But let's do our week 5 predictions. We'll go through it quickly. I'm just going to name the game and my score prediction. Who's going to win? Here we go. Let's do the Thursday night game. We got Falcons, Bucks. It's a big one. The Bucks have the lead in the division right now. It's in Atlanta. This is going to be another close one. I think it's probably going to be low scoring because it's Thursday Night Football, but I am unfortunately, for the Falcons fans, going to pick the Bucks to win it on a game-winning field goal, 19-17. Jets-Vikings, the London game, the Alessandro game. It's 2 favorite teams. This one's going to be interesting. Al, are you going to wake up at 9:30 a.m. and watch this game?
Hell yeah.
All right. Okay, all right. I was just making sure. Jets fans, I'm sorry, but I gotta ride the Vikings train now. I have to. Look, it's your fault for blowing it against the Broncos. You're gonna be 2-3 after this game. I think it's gonna be close though. The Vikings, they can't get out of a game without a little bit of a heart attack here. So let's pick the Vikings to win it 23-20 in London. Bears, Panthers. I didn't mention Caleb Williams. Congrats to him. He's definitely getting slightly better every single week. Good win against the Rams. He threw a really nice touchdown pass. And you know what? Oh, gosh. I think the Bears defense is good enough to shut down Andy Dalton a little bit, although I kind of like the Panthers offense, but it's in Chicago. I'll pick the Bears to win it 24-21. I think it's going to be a close game. Commanders, Browns, 1 o'clock. The Commanders are hosting. I don't think it's going to be close. I don't like the Browns anymore. I don't care about them. I'm going to go 27-13 Commanders. Dolphins, Patriots in New England. Tyler Huntley starts tonight. We'll see how they play. It's kind of hard to do this without watching Tyler Huntley. We're filming this on Monday before the game. But I think at this point, the Patriots are so bad. It's going to be an ugly game in general. I'll go with the Dolphins to win it 14-13. I think it's just going to be disgusting. Jags, Colts. Now, here we go, Jaguars fans. I just ragged on you for a good couple minutes there. I think you guys suck, but the Colts have not beaten the Jaguars in Jacksonville since 2013. And you know what? Screw it. Let's keep the streak alive. Let's give the Jags their first win. It'd be kind of funny if this streak just keeps on going. So I'll pick the Jags to win it 20-17. I have a lot of close games so far. Another great matchup. Bills-Texans. I'm surprised this is a 1 o'clock game, but in Houston, the Bills just came off of a bad loss last night against the Ravens. The Texans are 3-1. Both teams are 3-1. Ooh, what am I going to do here? It's really a coin flip for me. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Buffalo Bills to win in Houston. And it's going to go into overtime. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to go 30-24 Bills. Bengals, Ravens. I already said it earlier. I think the Ravens are going to destroy the Bengals. Sorry, their defense just sucks. I think the Bengals will put up some points, but it's not going to be close. Ravens are going to win this game 41-24. Not even close. Raiders, Broncos. I could give 2 shits about this game. Raiders win it. I don't know who's going to win. I'll go Raiders 17-16. in Denver. I don't care. 49ers, Cardinals. Man, this sucks for the Cardinals. I can't believe they're actually going to be 1-4 most likely. I thought they were going to be a little bit better this year, but their defense and offensive line is just too bad. Marvin Harrison keeps scoring touchdowns though. I'll go 49ers to win it 34-20. Giants, Seahawks in Seattle. Kind of an odd one there. Ooh. I think the Seahawks are going to lose tonight against the Lions, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt to bounce back at home against the Giants. It sucks. I don't really want the Giants to be 1-4. I wouldn't be shocked if the Giants... You know what? Upset alert. Upset of the week. We're going to do it. Why not? Let's just pick the Giants. Giants are going to win this game. Let's go 20... No, let's go 21-20. Why not? Rams, Packers in LA. Jordan Love's back. I got to pick the Packers to win it. Let's go 31-17. And then finally, our Monday night football games. Steelers, Cowboys, a classic matchup. The last time this was in Pittsburgh in 2016, it was one of the best games of the decade. Am I that excited for it? Not really. I think it'll be close, though. I think Steelers defense is good enough to keep to rile in the Cowboys offense. And I think the Cowboys are going to slightly pull it out. I will go 23-16 Cowboys. And then finally, Chiefs Saints. Can we go into our bye in week 6 undefeated? No, we can't. Second upset alert. Sorry, Al, you're going to have to pull out the graphic twice. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm going to pick the Saints to beat the Chiefs. Until proven otherwise, that the Chiefs can actually pull our shit together. Maybe our defense is good enough to just give Derek Carr a fit on Monday Night Football. I know it sounds like I don't have confidence in my team right now, but look, we lose these games sometimes. I thought maybe we were going to lose to the Falcons. We have to lose one of these at some point, and it's always to a team we don't expect. So I'm going to pick the Saints on Monday Night Football. I don't know why. It's just a gut feeling. I hope to God the Chiefs win, but who knows. So I'm going to go with the Saints to win this one 23-19. I think the Chiefs are going to put up 19 points, very oddly. All right, and that's going to do it for the Week 4 recap and Week 5 predictions. It's going to be a lot of fun. So many storylines to cover. Can't wait to watch next week. But don't forget to like and subscribe, comment down below, and follow us at First and Gold Pod on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Sam Gold. I'll see you later. Goodbye.